Welcome to No Less Survival, where the more you know, the less you need. So are pets a liability? Well, I guess it depends on the pet. Bindi, here. Yes. So there are going to be people who say, well, just get a protection animal, right? Okay, makes sense. You know, most people don't have the wallets to afford an out-of-box level 3 protection animal. Most people don't have the time or energy to afford to basic training. So why would they now be okay with having a protection animal? Anybody who's ever been in a canine unit family or knows a canine officer or is a canine officer is going to tell you offhand, nope, protection animals are not for everyone. These are dogs that have and need a job. Now, that's not to say that your four-legged friend cannot be useful in other parts of your preparedness. So Bindi is trained to keep animals. I said it a little bit too loud. She's good. So the value of her eyes command and her keep is that anything she sees and locks on, I can give the keep command and she will go and chase that thing. This started because I needed her to stop chasing things on her own accord. And that's where genetics comes into play. Our dogs all have different instincts, and these instincts could lead to problem behavior or skills. And the difference between a problem behavior and a skill is the commitment of the trainer. It's also important to remember to let dogs be dogs. So Bindi does, for those who are going to be concerned, get plenty of exercise. She gets plenty of outside time. She gets plenty of lounge time. She's not always at work, so to speak. But it's important to know when to turn that on and off. And you see, these aren't things that will inhibit the life of the dog. I know a lot of people think let dogs be dogs. They're only here for a certain amount of time. That's all good and well, but in a world that's not really set up to allow dogs to exist as they naturally are, we should be looking for ways to increase the comfort of our pets for the lifetime that they have in a world that's dominated by people. So it's important to remember that dogs do not communicate the same way people do. They're going to be okay with accepting different cues in order to elicit the same behavior if you do it correctly, right? So you want to build your foundation. I build my foundation with verbal, and that will allow you to kind of start to stack other cues onto those same behaviors. So if I want her to come here, Bindi, here, I let her know who I'm speaking to, and I ask her to come here. If I want her to sit, Bindi, sits. Then that happens, right? Good girl, go. If I want her to go, then that happens. Unless she doesn't feel like it, right? So you can do these same things with other cues. You just want your dog to be able to know, to recognize that this cue means this behavior, regardless of the format that it comes in, right? We're in the woods a lot. We're in the outdoors a lot in areas where we don't want to startle others or animals. So having nonverbal cues is great. In an SHTF scenario, having multiple ways to tell your dog the same thing can mean the difference between your dog being an asset or a liability. So there's a few things too. I mean, you have to allow room for your dog to be a dog to some degree. Now, she does have a heel command. She knows where she should be if we're out in an urban setting. But in the woods, I do not stress as to whether she is slightly ahead or slightly behind me. There's no reason to, because I understand recall. Here. And so does she. Here. Sit. So the cool thing about this is it's really a good example of the more you know, the less you need. You really don't need much to be able to start your journey of teaching your pet to become more than that. So see how she's Bindi, you don't need to get anxious. We're not lost. Come on. You can cut. You want to cut? So good example. She knows where we're supposed to be. It's driving her insane that we're following the trail because she knows what directions we're supposed to be going. Know your dog, I suppose, right? So we're gonna cut through and jump on the trail, I don't know, about 400 meters from where we are now. And that brings up a great point. As I'm getting back on the trail now, I'm realizing, well, not that I'm realizing this, but it's worth mentioning. Humans aren't perfect. Why should we expect our pets to be? So don't think, no matter how much time you invest, that you're going to have a dog that performs 100% of the time. It's just not how it works. Just like people, we have good days and bad days. A few other considerations to make if you're going to be including your four-legged friend in your preparedness group. Equipment, and that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. For me, it means equipment that's going to be on the dog. If the dog's not comfortable wearing gear, well, just like a human, they're going to be moving awkwardly, they're going to feel encumbered, and none of that contributes to readiness. So she has a light and a heavy harness. The heavy harness has a backpack on it. Light harness typically carries a small IFAC and a few essentials. We get out about once a month with one or the other, depending on the time I have for that day. And you just want to keep them comfortable with carrying gear if you choose to do that with them. The other thing to consider, lots of dogs bolt. Lots of dogs are gun shy. Having a gun shy dog in a situation, if you're dependent upon that equipment, is probably not going to do or be an asset. It's probably going to make your dog a liability. She's not gun shy. And some of that is genetics, I think. I mean, she's kind of a mutt, to be honest with you, but her characteristics send me in a few different areas there. But a lot of that is exposure. And it doesn't mean that you take your dog to the range and you start blasting 308 willy-nilly. It just means that you have to understand and research how to expose your pet, who you want to become an asset, to things that in an SHTF scenario they're going to face. So it's not to say that some sort of training for your pet to become a team member is for every person or every dog. But it does or should get you thinking about what options you do have. Now, it's interesting to note that, according to my research anyway, something as simple as a dog barking can be enough to deter a potential burglar or another criminal from trying to gain access to your home. It also alerts people so that maybe the people can take action. That being said, you need to be able to expose your dog outside of controlled environments to some degree. Now, that's a controversial statement, but if you're talking about SHTF scenarios, almost everything you step into at that point is going to be an uncontrolled environment. So it's great if your four-legged friend is sturdy in your backyard at a park. Great, cool. What about in the real world? Now, it's not to say that you should be taking your dog and exposing him to all these new and strange things right away. But I'm saying your dog will never graduate. So if you decide to start treating your animal like a member of the team and not just like a pet, you need to understand that that responsibility stays with you for the entire life of that animal. So, time, temperament, and training. If I had to sum everything I just talked about in this video up in 1 minute, that's what I would say. It's the way I was taught. Time is first, because if you don't have it or you're not willing to commit to it, then it's not worth starting. If you're teaching a dog to do a job, 2 to 3 hours a day is what's required, depending on the dog. Most working dogs have a high energy drive or high prey drive and high energy. So those two things demand extra exercise requirements and commitment to training. Temperament matters because we don't want to fight the disposition of our animal. If your dog is predisposed to chase things, then instead of trying to teach it not to chase things so it fills a role that you're thinking in your mind, teach it how to chase things when the situation dictates it. Out here.